Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a ranking of the Free Comic Book Day books that came out this week. And I wanted to chit chat about them. I had a pretty great Free Comic Book Day. I went to a library, exhibited my books over there. My friend was able to pick up my haul at my comic book stores. I also got to read the Free Comic Book Day books. So it was nice to kind of have two different experiences as a creator, exhibiting the books, and then also still as a consumer buying the books. And Free Comic Book Day is always fun, A, because it brings new people to the shop, but then B, if you're excited for maybe some events coming up, they tend to try to tease those within these books. And honestly, it's the only day you can get them, so it's rare to kind of have these books in your collection as well. You look back 5 years from now and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that came out. I literally could only get it that day. So let's jump into the ranking here. Number 8 for me is The Cursed Library, Archie Comics, and I have been following some of the Archie horror books. I read the Betty Final Girl, but one thing I've definitely noticed with Archie is that they are now doing more anthology books, which I don't tend to love when it comes to the major publishers. If I want to see a story with Betty, I kind of want to see a full story with Betty. I want to see her as the final girl. But I think if you've been enjoying Archie horror stuff in the present, this is a good book for you. You get a little bit of the Betty Final Girl stuff. They're teasing some things that are to come. And again, that's what Archie's been focusing on. If it's not anthologies, it's horror because of, how Sabrina has done really well, Chilling Adventures, and their other Archie line. I liked Vamp Veronica, Jughead the Hunger was really good. So interested to see where the new path is for Archie and which direction they're going. So for me, that was number 8. Moving on to number 7, a book I was so excited for and disappointed that I didn't love it, and that is Ranger Academy, issue 1. I didn't know what to expect with this book. I love Power Rangers, and I love the idea of the teenagers with attitude. I genuinely like that side of things, just seeing the YA coming of age story. This definitely took more of a sci-fi turn to that. There are characters you don't know, and I would say it's very related to Avengers Academy, Strange Academy, when there's the concept of a certain thing, or even X-Men. X-Men, at least they kind of had a foundation of characters you follow every decade, characters that you kind of know and love. I think with Stranger Academy and Avengers Academy, a lot of it was let's bring these newer characters and make them learn from the best. And I think this is where it misses a beat, where you're not really learning from the best. There's no there's Jason, there's Trini. It's these newer characters, and that is it. And again, it has the sci-fi spin to it. So if you're more of a fan of Power Rangers in space, you might like this a little bit more. Power Rangers SPD. It felt more of that tone than maybe what you've been enjoying from Mighty Morphin, and I thought this was going to be more grounded than it actually was. But I like the artwork for this one. I just don't know if it convinced me to want to read issue 1 like I thought this was going to. So overall, giving that 2.5 stars, or actually I think it was 2 stars. Yeah, that's 2 stars, and that is number 7. Moving on to number 6, another book I was really looking forward to, and they really filled this one up with really not many stories, and that is Dawn of DC. Dawn of DC, I've been really enjoying this new era of DC. I like that we're getting to see characters that are not just Batman and Superman getting a time to shine, getting their own series, and that's why I was really excited to see what is to come. They have the timeline of, hey, yeah, this is phase 1, but we got phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. We got other stuff planned for Dawn of DC, and a big part of that is Night Terror, which I've been kind of on the fence for. It does seem like they're going full throttle, almost like Villains Month or Futures End, Future State. It looks like it's going to encompass a lot of their series, so of course I wanted to check it out, but also doesn't really feel like it's introducing anything new. I feel like I've seen this event before, and honestly, that kind of put the nail on the head here. It's Damian having a bad dream. Here are some characters that show up. People look creepy. Here, go read Night Terror. And most of the issue is just showing pictures of what's gonna happen. There's just a lot of pinups, which is honestly, I think more than half the issue is no story at all, which was pretty disappointing. So overall, giving that 2.5 stars. I just don't think there was a ton of meat to this, or to really get you excited for what's to come with DC, which again is what you should be doing with your Free Comic Book Day books. Moving on to number 5, which is Sweet Valley Twins. I've never really heard anything about this, but I'm a twin, so I was like, maybe this could be fun, and I do like a good slice of life book. And I will say, if you've been following Sweet Valley Twins, I think you might enjoy this a little bit more. I do feel like this is more for the fans of like, hey, you're really excited for the sequel of this graphic novel, go check out a little teaser of what that graphic novel is. I didn't really get the gist of who the characters were and the twin relationship, but I think it's a good volume for kids, which is why this is a little higher up. I think the artwork worked for this, and obviously it's not too complicated of a story. So overall, giving that 2.5 stars, and that is number 5. Moving on to number 4, which is Uncanny Avengers issue 1, and I believe they also showcase another story in here. Yeah, they showcase the God story from Jonathan Hickman, which, we don't know anything about, and I don't know if this really teased anything. It really does feel like more of an after credit of an MCU movie than anything, where you're like, what's going on? That's cool, I guess. When it doesn't actually reference, like, Wolverine showing up or whatever. It's like, cool, we got that little tidbit, but it's not actually telling you what's going to happen next. And Uncanny Avengers, I do think the reason why it's higher, I do think you actually do get some information from the book. It's just something I personally haven't really been too excited for. I'm not currently reading Avengers. I am going to pick it up with with McKay's run of Avengers. So I'm interested to see what he ends up doing, because I really liked his Black Cat run. And I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting. But I haven't been following X-Men. I don't know if I care about Captain Krakoa. And I love the element of Krakoa being separate and maybe being able to integrate that to more of the human element. But I feel like I've been so far removed from the X-Men that didn't really do it for me. But the artwork was good, so that's why it's a little higher, and that is 3 stars. All right, moving on to number 3, and that is Girls Talking Over, and that's a Lois Lane story. I like that DC has been doing these YA books and doing these graphic novels where we get to see different versions of your favorite heroes and being able to tell a really original full story with them. And that's something we get to see here with Lois. And I think this did a really good job at breaking apart its graphic novel where, something like Sweet Valley, you could kind of tell like, okay, they needed to just choose a couple of pages to showcase their graphic novel. Here, I think they really show purposely the scenes that they cut. Like, it felt like a full issue. And, we get to see the beginning, middle, and end. You're like, oh, that kind of grabbed me. I would like to see where this goes. And that's how I feel like you should sell these Free Comic Book Day books that are also tied into a graphic novel. And again, it's a different spin on Lois. It feels very familiar to the Supergirl television show. So if you enjoyed that, there's definitely a lot of elements, especially the journalism elements. And I liked her having this like BFF ex-friend that's connected to their parents. I thought that was an interesting wrinkle, and the artwork I think worked for this style and this type of book really well. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is Spider-Man Venom issue 1. And obviously I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but the reason this is so high, I like that the Spider-Man story felt like it was going somewhere and teasing something, when I think in the Spider-Man lore right now, it's very hard to tease where things are going, because literally this Wednesday is the big issue for Amazing Spider-Man and the big climax. So it's like, oh, like, how do you not spoil that, but also still trying to tease what's going on? And they definitely sidestepped the Peter stuff, and they're like, hey, actually, let's just show Kraven and Dr. Octopus possibly teaming up with some wonderful artwork. I mean, I believe it's Gleason doing the art, so really great style there. The Venom stuff I was not as attached to. I'm not reading Venom, so that was a little harder to get into. I'm like, I don't know what's going on there. It was definitely not new reader friendly, but I like the Ultimate Universe stuff. I thought that was the perfect tease. Out of any of the Free Comic Book Day stuff I've read, that was perfect. That's what I want from a Free Comic Book Day story, and actually something I am very interested in. And I think they did a good job at showing, okay, let's figure out who this guy is. How is he related to Miles Morales? Why is Miles Morales going to be the middle of all of this? So I thought that was really well done. I kind of wish it was even longer. So overall, giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 2. All right, moving on to my number 1 pick, which is another Spider-Man book, but that's Spider-Man Spider-Man 2, issue 1. And I actually did read all the Spider-Man related tie-ins to the video game, and I really liked it. As someone who didn't even play the video game, it's very easy to jump into and kind of figure out what this world is, especially if you know who Spider-Man is and his story. And I felt like this one did a really good job at that too. And one of the complaints of the Free Comic Book Day books is that a lot of them feel short, and a lot of them aren't full issues. They're not full stories. They're just like, okay, let's go to a graphic novel now. Let's tease this. It's all teasers. This felt like a complete story. It told me where the characters are going. There's some good action between our leads. We have Mary Jane in the action as well. The artwork is very similar to the artwork we've gotten before. It just felt very consistent to previous volumes while still teasing the game, while still teasing the comic books, and it just did the job right for me, which is why it was number 1. So that's my ranking for the Free Comic Book Day books. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and let me know in the comments below, how was your Free Comic Book Day, and let me know your favorite books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.